Yeah, so here we go again. Well, just dropped my car keys, don't need them anymore. It's Tuesday, time is 1 before 6 in the PM, stating the obvious I am. Uh, I haven't been very productive today, but I have spent a lot of money. I don't know if that counts as a form of being productive, but nah. I've prepared for a lot of work and I've been very good at executive dysfunction working, so doing things that are not necessary to do at this time. But I would have to do them eventually anyways, so I guess it's better to have them done than not. Um, Today's drink is a Bundaberg lemon brew, Australian family owned, but I believe this is actually made in Germany. Yes, it is, by Carlsberg. Um, with the Australian recipe, I'm guessing. They make a really good ginger beer, and this is, I guess, the lemon alternative. Probably got to hold the bottle upside down, otherwise I'll have all the solids in the bottom later. There we go. So today I did manage to get up, go to town, bring my hazer to my former classmate who have now graduated. I did park half a foot illegally. Then again, so many people park their entire vehicle illegally. I don't feel too bad about it, and the vehicle behind me was not parking space sufficient, which is why I had to be half a foot outside of the legal parking. Half a foot, yeah. I mean, feel bad still. It's not pain free, but it's less pain than the nuisance of having to look for an alternate parking spot. If there's one right available, that's just half a foot short, because a mini car, not a mini brand by BMW or Austin Mini, but a small car, same manufacturer as this one, in fact, decide, I'm going to leave a meter space behind my boot of parking area, and it's not like they couldn't have accessed their boot otherwise. Behind them was a drive, which means no one was allowed to park there anyways. Then again, this being Berlin, it might not have stopped people, so they might have done it for that reason. Who knows? More likely than not, they just didn't think about it, as people so often do. After I dropped the stuff off at uni, I went by a fancy, I guess it's office supplies, art supplies shop, same house as uni. As known as a chemist by many, just because they charge exorbitant money for things. But I figured I haven't got any writing supplies that I would like, and I would like them for my thesis. I don't just want to be carrying around the research papers I'm reading in loose. So I did get myself this here cover, properly labelled, with the title of my work. And therein contained is another thing I have, which is this here, which is a notebook of the dot variant, which is my preferred layouting, I guess, just because they aren't as intrusive as many other forms of layouts. In this cover at this time, I do already have some of the papers I've been reading. Well, it's a paper and an article, but still, and the paper is based on a book, so the book is based on a paper, it's not actually the paper. Is the book based on one, but it's good enough. And what I do also have in here, that I'm meaning to open today here with you, hello there, is my Studio Neat, I believe it is, with Cortex brand collaboration of the Cortex Mark 1. Which is I believe it's a ballpoint pen, might be rollerball, but guess we're opening this now, so that's what one need a knife for. Let me do a thumbnail beforehand. There we go. Time to open up. Ugh. Always make sure to cut toward yourselves. There we go, that's the start. Oh wow, this is actually harder to cut than I thought because I don't have anything to press against. Ah, there we go. That's gonna work just fine. All fun and games until someone was missing an eye. There we go. That's it. That's the goods. Looks like it is a ballpoint. I'm looking to use this for my writing for this paper, which is why I brought it along and figured I might as well open it. I've actually had it since it was released. It's just been living unboxed, or it's been living boxed in its original cover, which is off black for some reason, on my shrine of things that are amazing for humankind, achievements, and this pen is one of them, I guess. Quite like the feel of it. I suspect the texture might wear over time, but I have not the slightest idea, to be honest. And it is very prone to fingerprints, but I don't mind as a tool, you know. Looking forward to giving this some good use together with these things. Then again, in the past I haven't done much penmanship for my academic writing. So that's going to be the challenge, to actually do penmanship. Not just write on the pooter, or phone, or tablet, or whatever else, you know. So, there we go. This is my penmanship setup for the moment. One of the reasons, though certainly not the only, is the owner of the tea shop prefers people to not have laptops. Another reason would be the idea of me wanting to improve my penmanship. This is also the only fancy pen I have that I do not mind taking out of the house, because my one other is a Parker rollerball. Well, the refill's a rollerball. You can probably get all kinds of refills, but it's a Parker made in England, and I believe that's been in the family for 3 generations at this time, so that's not leaving the house, because I don't know how well I'd deal with losing it, and I don't want the risk of that, so I'm not taking it out of the house really. Time for some drinking of some Bundaberg lemon brew, non-alcoholic. Certainly tastes lemon. The reason I got unusual drinks, though I haven't been grocery shopping, so I was by a drink market. Actually, might want to do show and tell now. It's not worth. To get a particular drink, a bottle of vodka for just under $20, because apparently that's what the garage guy really likes for bribery, and I don't owe them anything yet. But in the end of the day, might as well be in good standing with them, and with the amount of work I'm having done, is a negligible amount of money. So, you know, who doesn't like being in good standing? Then again, I don't know if I should be too bothered about good standing with this person. Because I have some practices, so I think it's a bit math. I don't know how feel about them. They have some claims which no one else have, and I do not believe they looked through the engineering all the way, and coincidentally those claims also make their customers more reliant on them. Then again, odds are they aren't looking for more customers, because if you've got a garage, you're pretty well set up, just because there's a lot of cars and not that many people training mechanics. So, you know, who knows? But I don't know how I feel about sticking around with them. I'm certainly sticking around till my next general inspection, and after that I might not return. Don't like saying this, I guess, because I do like the person as a person. They seem authentic, which is oddly enough something I noticed in the past. I care for quite a lot in people. They're being authentic, that is. Yes, I also prefer if people's opinions align with mine, but that is secondary to them being authentic. I'd rather have someone disagree with me, because their opinion differs, as to someone agree with me, because that is my opinion. They want their opinion to agree with mine, to align with mine. Ooh, that's almost poetic. And they want their opinion to align with mine. Oh. Anyways, I've had 13 cigarettes today thus far. Then again, I didn't get out of bed until like 10 in the AM, and even then I only got out slowly. So it's only been 8 hours, which makes it more than one an hour. About one every 40 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So that's not quite what I'm respiring. Yesterday I did have a total of 28 cigarettes, tobacco that is. For the time, I'm okay with that. I just really don't like the expense. I'm smoking like €8 a day in tobacco, cigarettes, which is too much money. Then again, I got hemp on the way, and what I got on the way should last me at least a month. And I'll be spending less than I would on tobacco in the same period of time. And I highly suspect sometime soon, maybe even tomorrow, I might go and cross the border, get my tank full of diesel in a jerry can, so that'd be roughly 100 litres, and then get a carton of cigarettes to augment hemp, because hemp is still not societally acceptable because it smelled too much like marijuana. Well, it smelled exactly the same, to be fair, for it to be useful in professional environments, because otherwise people think, oh, he's running around stoned all the time, he's driving vehicles stoned. Just obviously people who don't know me, because surprise, the moment you know me, you'd figure I probably wouldn't be doing that. But apparently some people care too much for appearances, or too much is my thing, but apparently some people care for appearances. There we go. Which means some places I cannot smoke blunts. There's number 14 today. After I got my fancy writing supplies, I did not buy the pen today, but the rest, and I also got some envelopes and some other small crap. The bill racked up to €60, and I thought that can't be right. So I checked my receipt on my way out, and I realised they charged me for this booklet twice, and it's not cheap. The notebook is $20 or so. It's fancy, admittedly, and I have a lot of pages, so it's worth it in my book. Luckily, they were open to give me back the money, even though I'd already left the shop. That's not general practice, but I guess if you're a chemist, you can't charge people double of hella expensive. Charging them a single time hella expensive is enough. So I got back $20, so I ended up spending $40 on office supplies today, which still is quite the sum. I mean, hell. So I then figured out, oh yeah, okay, they will give me back the money, so they end up giving me back the money for the one I didn't buy. Otherwise, had they not, I would have gone in and taken another. And once prompted, oh, you got to pay for it. Well, I've already paid for it, so good news is I didn't have to. A lot of times with situations like this, I am conflict averse enough that I just swallow the expense, but in this case I just couldn't, because it was right outside the door, you know. And apparently that was a positive experience, so yay. On my way out of town, I stopped at a petrol station because it was on reserve, and I'd already done 20k on reserve. I got at least 60k on reserve, but I still don't want to be cutting it close, even though I'm getting a filter change tomorrow. Today would have been the day to cut it close, realistically, but still. I tanked not litres, but €40 of diesel, which is an odd thing for me to be doing, because usually I tank precise litres, but I tanked precise euros today. And I bought another packet of cigarettes for £10, which is hella money, you know. I should not be spending this kind of money on tobacco. I'm fully aware I'm grown adult and all. But that means with the hemp and the 3 packets of cigarettes I've now bought, I'm getting very close to my regular tobacco expenses for about 3 or 4 week period. Good news, on the other hand, I'm about to get myself the half price cigarettes when I cross the border again. Only 1 carton though, because first off, money and all, and second off, the more I have, the more I'll smoke. Which I don't mind with the hemp, because for now I'm not trying to stop smoking, I'm just trying to get away from tobacco, reduce tobacco as much as viable. And I did realise hemp is basically film grass, film marijuana. Smell like it, look like it, but don't do no effects. Well, it do some effects, but not the proper effects of THC. So I don't know. What's the right term? I'm not actually quite sure how those effects are classified, but I mean, you get something similar but significantly milder. And it's practically film grass, which is kind of odd, because I guess I can use that as a prop if I ever get to. Perfectly fine. Then again, these days you don't got to use a prop, but you do want your actors to be in their right mind, even if you have to do multiple takes of them rolling and smoking a joint, you know, or blunt. After that, I went by big DIY place on my way home. I did get a couple of tarps, thin but watertight, a big sub pot, and a small chunk of wood, just because my plants are starting to get to the point where they're outgrowing their box soon enough, and I want to start preparing for that. It's not everything I'll need, but I plan on removing my kitchen table, because I only ever use it as a spot for depositing things anyways, moving that to the cellar or turning it on its side and just using that as a construct. Moving my kitchen shelves into the room, and next to the window setting up a little grow box, which is what I got the tarp for. Well, a bigger one than the one I currently got. And I did a lot of window shopping in the DIY place as well. Apparently you can buy these truss pipes for furnishings, for furniture. I believe they do hold some force, because they're steel pipes, 33mm diameter. Probably got a few mil wall thickness. I'm sure you can weld to them and all. And I did do some window shopping with those. What it had cost me to get a frame for grow box at those, and it only cost a couple of $100, which, considering how much some people pay for similar things, is not that much money. Then again, for me it's too much. I cannot spend that kind of money. But I have wondered whether longer term, as in once I have an income, I might start replacing my furniture with just them pipes and floors on them for shelves, just because they're a modular system. All go with Allen screws, Allen grub screws. So in the end, for moving place, it must be really rather handy to have shelves, and you can just take pieces off as you go, and you have something that pack very small. And it's more solid and prettier than my current heavy duty storage shelf solution. I don't mind my current solution, but it's slightly suboptimal because it's missing the option of customization, because you are reliant on the pieces you have available. The only thing of customization I could do is make a cube with 40 by 40 centimeters, or a 120 by 120, no, 90 by 90 centimeter cube. But beside that, there isn't any options of customizing, and with those pipes you can just shorten the pipe and it'll still go in the receptacles. So that's something I've wondered about, and realistically a whole flat full of furniture that kind would cost a couple of $3,000 or so. But if one split that over half a year, it's not that much money per month. And I guess that's just the window shopping I've been doing for quite a while now. So new window shopping is furniture. Is most certainly a fever dream, just because I'm not going to spend that kind of money on furniture. What's the point? I mean, it's things to put things on and in. But you know, considering the option, spending money I ain't got yet. Another thing is, I got an email from the office for Barfok that they sent a letter, which is the least valuable email one could send. Oh, we've sent you a letter. You'll be receiving a letter shortly. I immediately checked my bank account and I ain't got no money from them yet. So the question now is what they'll want from me, but I won't know until I get that letter. And I highly suspect they're just making up some BS again, because according to that email, they've only addressed one of my applications, but I have 3 outstanding, and the one they've addressed is the one that shouldn't bother them in the least, because that's the one for just April, because I'd mistakenly put the end date as April as well, because the date picker's not so lovely. You can't just write in the date, you have to go through calendar and click on it. But apparently I'll be getting feedback to that shortly. Still nothing on my last period, which ended in March, for which they owe me money for at least February and March. And I don't even know anymore. I mean, eventually I'll just rock up there in the morning and sit around until someone talk to me, because, I mean, besides having to write a thesis, which I could do in their building, I got time, man. It's probably the solution I'll have to go to in the end of the day, just because I can't wait 3 months for responses every time I send something, you know. It's not valid. 2 months, sorry for the hyperbole. You know, 6th of a year to get back to someone in the 21st century. In the 223rd decade. Which is, oddly enough, a thing people don't say, even though people say which year and which century. Many people do not mention that we are in the 3rd millennium. Or that we're in the 223rd decade. Is it? Yeah, it's 223rd decade. BC. No, not BC. Total brain fart. Sorry for that. AD. There we go. I had to correct myself. That's why I was quiet for a moment, because I figured something sounded wrong about that. Something felt wrong about that. And I figured out what. I don't only smart ass others, I also smart ass myself. Then again, I believe that lends my word some credibility, because if I make mistakes, I'll point them out to anyone as well. So, you know, if I've made a mistake and noticed it, odds are you'll know. Just about anyone whom I've made the mistake towards will know. Which, in my opinion, is, I guess, an important character trait, at least for me. Funny how that works, really. Oh yeah. For my elective, directing elective post-production, I did manage to sync all the footage yesterday, render out synced clips to be working with, and proxies for those synced clips, which means I'll now have everything I need just to assemble the whole thing. And I had considered replacing the backgrounds, but I might still or might not do that. We'll see. Just because it's not worth the work. As long as our pass is happy, and they'll be happy if I just do work, you know. I mean, I guess it's almost an arrogant feeling for me, but in the end of the day, as an elective, it's worth 5 credits. Just with the time we're spending shooting, we're getting dangerously close to half that time. I did have to prep for my shoot as well, and for my presentation. I don't think I should spend too much time on this. And then again, I got a hard time putting my name on something that I'm not happy with. But while syncing those clips, I ended up watching through the whole scene once, roughly. I was actually really rather quick with it. Most of the syncing was waiting for the pooter to render out the synced clips, just because I don't want to have to relink the audio on a regular basis. I just want the embedded audio to be the mic audio. Yeah. Oh, by the way, we are in the regular spot today for talking to myself. Thank you very much for watching, by the way. Always feel free to leave a comment down below if you've got some comments to give on I'm glad to see them if there is any. Then again, all 5 a year. If one leave, one every one while, it's good as well, you know. Thank you very much for watching. I noticed while re-watching all the shoot, which is now a month and a half ago, hell, I really like some of the acting. I don't think it's my direction. I think it's just a good actress. They did a solid job acting. All the role really suited them, one of the two. I don't know them well enough to judge, but still. I'm looking forward to having the final thing. And I might bring release forms to the screening we do uni internally, just so they can sign them and I can upload it on here, because I don't feel comfortable uploading other people's faces without a release form. If any of that work, you know. Though it was very much so implied by their presence there and acting for camera that they would be recorded. That does not mean I have the right to release it. And I'm pretty sure I still got the release forms printed out. It's just in the day, due to the stress, I'd kind of forgotten. Had to get dinner, well, lunch, catering. So I went to the supermarket then with the assistant, and we got $30 worth of stuff, which I should not have spent, but I'm happy I did. Just because it's kind of a shit experience if people don't even got enough to drink or so, or to eat, you know. Yeah, anyways, I'm hoping to get home. When I get home, continue that editing, so I'll have an edit done today, so I'll only have sound and colour to do. I had considered doing motion design for title/credits, but I don't think it's worth probably over effort, but might still, I don't know, it's very little effort for what it looked like, so might still, you know. I am aspiring to be a Bachelor of Arts of Film and Motion Design after all, so, you know, when I gotta do what I gotta do. I think that's all for today, for now at least, anyways. Oh, the temperature and the weather. I believe the temperature is 25-ish degrees centigrade. The car will confirm shortly after it beeps. It's 22.5 degrees centigrade. It feels fairly humid. There is a slight breeze. There was more cloud coverage, and now the sun's coming out again. I'm not too fond of the sun. But overall, I'd rate the weather pleasant. 7 out of 8, you know. 8 out of 8 is never going to happen. 7 point something is possible. 7.99 would be possible, but nah, 8. This is the French system in that regard. You aren't getting the 8 out of 8. That's not possible. There is no perfect weather. Anyways, though the weather might not be perfect, I hope you're perfect. Stay safe. I'll see you around. Cheerio.